Sometimes a mirror doesn't just reflect, it smiles back at you. Tonight, I'm about to tell you a story you might never want to experience alone in front of a mirror again. On a freezing, foggy night in London, the third-floor bathroom of an old hostel looked more horrifying than ever. At 2:13 a.m., a student, driven by curiosity, decided to summon the infamous urban legend, Bloody Mary. The mirror was ancient, wavy, and warped, streaked with dripping blood-red water and black, oily stains, fog clinging to its surface. The student closed their eyes and whispered, "Bloody Mary." At first, nothing happened. Then, the reflection stared back, smiling grotesquely, skin stretching unnaturally, hollow black eyes staring deep into the soul. The air grew icy, shadows crawled across the walls, and from the tap's dripping water, blood-like tentacles began to slither. The mirror's world merged with the real world. The screams of vanished students echoed from within, and shadowy fingers shot out, wrapping around the students' arms and legs. Every movement was mimicked by the reflection, twisting the student's face into a grotesque form. In a sudden, horrifying flash, their face merged entirely with the mirror's ghastly image, and then they vanished. Blood-red liquid spread across the floor, the corridor became molten and nightmarish, and the entire hostel was consumed by the chaotic horrors leaking from the mirror. As the night progressed, more students, drawn by curiosity, approached the bathroom. Each reflection twisted into its own bloody, grotesque copy. Black, hollow eyes, bloodied hands, and tentacles crawling along walls and ceilings. One tried to run, but the doors had already locked themselves, and the mirror's inhuman hands latched on to their limbs. Every movement, every struggle synchronized with the mirror's world, their bodies warping, blood and molten flesh merging with the reflection. The corridors, floors, and walls filled with molten red and shadowy horror. The hostel had become a living nightmare. The chaos inside the mirror intensified. Distorted faces of vanished students glared from every corner. Blood-like liquid oozed from the taps and seeped across the floors, and shadowy tentacles emerged from every angle. With each scream, the mirror pulsed, its horrors gradually invading the real world. The hostel itself became a living entity. Screams echoed endlessly, faces with hollow eyes flashed from every reflection, and the environment was bathed in molten blood-red terror. Soon, the horror spilled beyond the hostel. The mirror's influence spread into adjacent corridors, rooms, and hallways. Distorted faces and black tentacles flickered behind doors and windows. Any lone person nearby began twisting into a grotesque reflection of themselves. The hostel had fully transformed into a living nightmare. The floor molten with blood, walls dripping with flesh, the air filled with hollow whispers and ghastly laughter. As night deepened, the mirror's effect spread into the city. Blood-stained shadows and grotesque reflections began appearing in streets, alleys, and buildings, turning the city into a nightmarish mirror world. Rivers ran blood red, shadows seeped along every street, and anyone alone risked merging with their grotesque reflection. Screams echoed in every corner. Panic and terror spread as reality became subordinate to the mirror's influence. Finally, the city reached its climax. Every building, street, and alley fused with the mirror's horror. Vanished students' faces, claws, and tentacles now appeared everywhere. Anyone alone risked merging completely with their reflection, flesh becoming one with grotesque horror. Every scream, every struggle echoed across the city, molten blood and shadows covering everything. The metropolis had become a red, black, living nightmare. And then the horror escalated further. The mirror's influence engulfed the environment. Rivers and lakes ran like blood. Clouds twisted into shadowy forms, and the sky turned molten red and black. Every bridge, building, and street melted into grotesque horror. Vanished students' faces, tentacles, and claws flashed everywhere. No one was safe. Screams and whispers echoed across the world, and every corner became a nightmarish, molten horror. The next morning, the cleaner opened the hostel's bathroom. Everything appeared normal, except for a message written in a finger across the mirror. She smiled first. When the cleaner looked at their reflection, it blinked. People say this is the same old urban legend, Bloody Mary. Even now, shadows in hostels, streets, and cities bear traces of her horror. Anyone alone can fall into the mirror's grotesque grip, and their screams will echo in ghastly reflections across the world.
For support me, subscribe to my channel.